as I've mentioned before, the Yoga Vasistha is a little bit, well, sometimes it goes off message. When it's on message, it's directing us to the here and now. It's directing us to the experiencing that is happening at this present instant. But it's couched in Hindu beliefs, Hindu cosmology, Hindu mythology, and there are two aspects which we've got to be careful about here. One is the idea that there's the idea of austerities. In the Hindu tradition, individuals can stand on one leg, for example, for ages, and by this method conquer any physicality, but through the power of the mind. And you might like this kind of stuff. It's all about self-empowerment, which is not the same as what I would call spirituality, because it's setting up this very dual nature between the mind and the body, and the mind must triumph. And this manifests itself in the ability of the yogi to apparently perform supernormal feats. Although it seems to me that these feats actually take place in the imagination. They take place in what might be called the subtle realm, or the astral realm, giving the yogi the power to enter directly and consciously into the objects of his imagination. Which is very fascinating and quite exciting, but it has got nothing to do with spirituality. I'm going to refer to another book here, and this is Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. He's got something to say about this on page 95. Countless people in East and West throughout the ages have tried to find God's salvation or enlightenment through denial of the body. This took the form of denial of sense pleasures and of sexuality in particular, fasting and other ascetic practices. They even inflicted pain on the body in an attempt to weaken or punish it, because they regarded it as sinful. In Christianity, this used to be called mortification of the flesh. Others tried to escape from the body by entering trance states, or seeking out of the body experiences. Many still do. Even the Buddha is said to have practiced body denial through fasting and extreme forms of asceticism for 6 years, but he did not attain enlightenment until after he'd given up this practice. The fact is that no one has ever become enlightened through denying or fighting the body, or through an out of the body experience. So I think we have to go. I think I'm going to go along with Eckhart Tolle here, and as I've said before, we take all these stories of astral projection with a pinch of salt. Although the Yoga Vasistha itself at times doesn't do so, and that's when I'll describe it as being off message. But while we're with Eckhart, he does have this. The quote I took was from a chapter called "The Inner Body," and he talks about transformation through the body and about connecting with the inner body. And he gives us some exercises. It's all about to do with feeling the vitality in the body, and this is good because it's about enhancing our awareness. If we're in the present moment, and that's one thing, but are we actually aware of what's going on? And he talks about awareness of the inner body, although he does say that it's formless, luminous, and unfathomable. So we have to assume that he's talking about body in a rather loose sense, not in terms of some ghostly entity. So yes, he gives these exercises which are, it's all about just being aware of, say, a tingling in your hands and in your feet. It's about awareness of sensation, and of possibly quite subtle sensations, and that awareness can develop into a sense of the vitality, what we might call the vitality or the vital body, a sense of the vitality of the inner body. But it's curious, I mean, because these exercises, there's another book here which has got similar exercises which take it even further, and it's a book called Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce. And the exercises in this book actually are quite good for developing awareness of the inner body, and Robert Bruce sees that as a prelude to astral projection. But again, you know, we've got to be careful that we don't go off message ourselves, and I suspect maybe even Eckhart does himself. I mean, that same chapter he talks about how awareness of the inner body can slow down the aging process and strengthen the immune system. Well, it might well do. It might well do. He says to try it for yourself and see. But if that's our reason for doing it, then we're off message. And that's why we need to take something like the astral projection, the ethereal body, with a pinch of salt. And yet, perhaps we can direct our awareness, as Eckhart Tolle suggests, to something called the inner body. Because whatever is what's going on, as long as we don't build up a notion, it really has to be, our attention really has to be with what is going on, and not with a concept or a notion or an understanding of what's going on. Simply being with the sensations. So we need to be very careful with the Yoga Vasistha here, because it does go seriously off message sometimes, especially later on with the 10 sons of Indu, I think it is.